Kruger, you can smooth a silk sheet if you had a hot date with a babe. I lost my train of thought. Because we watched Season 9, Episode 10, The Strike. Fun fact. That was actually Jerry Stiller couldn't remember the line. And so he just said that and they kept it in. So Katie, how'd you like The Strike?
I didn't.
No. Okay.
Are you surprised?
Nope.
Did you like it?
I think there was seeds of good storylines in here and none of which hit their full potential. And I think they wasted Festivus.
I feel like there's a lot of iconic stuff, but the episode is not good.
Yeah.
It's not... there was a lot of throwaway junk.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's too bad.
Yeah. So The Strike was written by Dan O'Keefe, Alec Berg, and Jeff Schaefer. Dan O'Keefe's father is the inventor of Festivus.
Okay.
We can talk about how the real-life Festivus and the Festivus as portrayed in this episode differ.
Let's.
Dan O'Keefe also wrote a book called The Real Festivus, and it outlines anything. It was directed by Andy Ackerman, and it aired on December 18th, 1997. Vulture.com ranked it as the 127th best Seinfeld episode.
Yeah.
Basically saying it needed more Festivus. Screen Crush ranked it as the 57th best episode, saying that it was unremarkable, other than spawning Festivus into the zeitgeist.
That doesn't count. Its legacy isn't what we're rating. We're rating the thing itself.
IMDb ranked it as the 27th best Seinfeld episode with an 8.7 out of 10.
Ugh.
I keep saying democracy doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, let's throw it back to last week when I asked you if you remembered this episode.
Kramer ends The Strike's over and he goes back to work.
And?
I think I nailed it. I didn't want to reveal that it was the Festivus episode, although you seemed to allude that you knew it was the Festivus episode, but then through our discussion over the week, I think maybe you didn't know it was the Festivus episode.
I had accidentally read ahead and I saw something about Festivus, but I didn't want to say that I knew that because I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted to save it for today.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter.
You didn't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about this.
I'll read the synopsis. Frank brings back his holiday, Festivus. George invents a charity. Kramer's 12-year strike at a bagel shop ends. Elaine pursues a free sandwich. Before we talk about it, who are the guest stars?
So we had several returning guest stars. We had Jerry Stiller, Estelle Harris, Bryan Cranston, Daniel Van Bargen.
Who's that?
Kruger.
Okay.
But we also had Karen Feynman, who played Gwen. She was in like an episode here, there, and this, so like a whole bunch of shows. Notable ones being Babylon 5, Chicago Hope, Law and Order. Tracy Letts, who played the role of Counter Guy at the Off-Track Betting. He was in...
I'm sorry. I thought you meant the bagel shop counter guy.
No, I did want to include him, but he was only ever in 4 things, the last of which was this episode of Seinfeld.
Oh, okay.
So didn't really feel. Anyways, he was Tracy Letts was in Lady Bird, Ford versus Ferrari, and Grace Under Fire.
Wow.
Dave Florek played Harry.
Who's Harry?
He's a man.
Oh, that guy.
I'm a man. He was in Ghostbusters 2, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Did you ever see, you probably didn't ever see X-Men Origins Wolverine, although we own it on DVD because I bought it.
It doesn't ring a bell.
That was a movie that was like so bad. It was the introduction of Deadpool, played by Ryan Reynolds.
Oh.
But they changed the character from the source material so much, notably removing his mouth for a character whose like nickname is the Merc with the Mouth, and like all of his like fast like comeback.
So did he not talk in the movie?
He talked at the start and then he like loses his mouth partway through.
We're not talking like in his costume, because there's no mouth in the costume.
He doesn't have the costume in this movie. He is shirtless and bald and hairless,
and no mouth.
Skin grows over his mouth.
Ew.
During filming, Ryan Reynolds pointed out, they were like, that this was a diversion from the source material, and they were kind of like, yeah, not a big deal. And then they tested it with audiences, and they were like, you got to come back in for some reshoots because everybody hates what we did with this character. And he was like, yeah, I told you. David Florrick was also in a movie called Hidalgo, which I recognized the cover of, and it was
It's a horse movie?
Yeah, with Viggo Mortensen. Anyways, I recognized the thing, so I included it. Kevin McDonald might also be in this episode, credited for playing the role Denim Vest.
No name.
He had
a name. It was Steve.
He was in Johnny Bravo. He was a voice in Lilo and Stitch, both the movie and the television series.
Oh.
He was in an arc or a bunch of episodes of That 70s Show as like Pastor Dave or something. He was in an episode of Corner Gas as the tax man.
I'm not the tax man. I'm a tax man.
I'm glad I set you up for that joke. And he was very notably in Kids in the Hall.
He was also a voice on Invader Zim.
Yeah, he was a lot of voices. I think he's credited for more voices than actual acting roles.
I'm going to diverge into Kids in the Hall for a second. So I'm a big fan, and I've rewatched the DVDs many times over. And every time I kind of cycle through the whole series, my favorite Kid in the Hall changes. And it has settled on Kevin McDonald.
Oh, wow.
I think by far he's the funniest out of all of them. So can I give you what I thought at the beginning of this episode versus what I think now?
Yeah, sure.
I'd heard about Kramer and the Bagel Shop strike, so I was excited for this.
Okay.
For me, that went nowhere. I didn't like anything about him in the bagel shop at all.
Yeah. Not much happened really in the bagel shop.
No. And then the Festivus thing, like you said at the beginning, there wasn't enough of that either. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we've seen Festivus before.
No.
Never?
Never.
Okay. Maybe I've absorbed it through osmosis. Because I thought it had come up before in the show.
No. This was December 18th, 1997 was the introduction of Festivus to the world.
Why did his dad have a tape recording?
I think that's so funny that they didn't have like video recordings, but they did have audio recordings.
Yeah, that made no sense.
Maybe it didn't make sense to bring it like thematic. Like, how are we going to bring this like into the coffee shop to show what happened?
Why couldn't they just do a flashback?
I guess. I don't know.
Like a fake flashback, right?
Well, I think it would have been funnier if like George dressed up in like pajamas, getting yelled at by like dye Jerry Stiller's hair black and
put his army mustache on him.
Sure, yeah. And give Estelle Harris like a wig or something.
I would or just I love Estelle Harris, but like just cast a different actress.
And then have her do the voiceover.
Yes.
Like ADR it.
And like Jerry Stiller is himself, but a younger actress is Estelle. See, we're already making this better.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, like the Human Fund is something I heard about that kind of went nowhere. This isn't Elaine. Why would Elaine eat 23 bad sandwiches for a free sandwich? That's not in her character.
I will point out that this episode was written by 3 men who probably didn't know what to do with this character.
I want to know what Julia Louis-Dreyfus felt about season 9 Elaine. I'm sure we could find something.
So, I mean, I think this episode probably out of all of the episodes, maybe the finale might have more, but like you can probably find the most written about Festivus if you go through and look.
All right, I will.
I do have like Instagram reels saved on my phone of like them talking about Festivus or, Festivus clips, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, it's near the end, but the iconic line, I got a lot of problems with you people, and you're going to hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably been sent a meme with that in it, and that's why I think I've been here before.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so it starts at Watley's Hanukkah party.
Still Jewish.
Without the parents, it's a breeze.
He was walking around with mistletoe.
Yeah, and then like he waved it over Elaine and then went meow.
Uh-huh.
And then she sees Den and Vest checking her out.
This is pretty bold. So she's just standing alone with Jerry.
Yeah.
And then this guy comes over.
It's like, we should go out.
How come, like, I know it happens in like another episode, but like, isn't Jerry like, hey, how come you don't think I'm with her? Like,
because he does leave. So maybe that's his cue.
Couples don't have to stay together at parties. People
who are standing together at a party aren't necessarily dating, Derek. Even if one of them takes money out of their wallet and gives it to the other person to buy drinks with.
Logically, though.
Yeah.
They came together, I presume.
Yeah, I presume as well.
Yeah. What do you think about the standard fake? I don't feel like she would have a standard fake. I feel like she would just make up.
But you can't hesitate.
True, but you're just saying numbers.
Yeah. I never had a fake phone number. I had a fake name that I would give people.
Yeah. Me too.
All this time, your name hasn't been Derek at all.
Did I tell you about the time where I was like after the bar, like we would go to like Pita Planet to get drunk pitas, and while I was getting a pita at Pita Planet, someone was like, "Oh, hey, is your name Milo?"
Because that's like, your standard.
Because that's my standard fake name.
My standard fake name was Angela, and I just noticed today on Shoppers Drug Mart, there's a sticker on the door that says, "If you feel unsafe, come in and ask for Angela." It's like a signal
it's
to
like the thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that you ask a bartender for an angel shot, and they know that means that you're with a guy that you need like whatever from.
Oh, okay.
Protection, I guess.
Yeah.
One of my friends, she has code with her daughters that if she gets a text asking, "Can you bring me my purple hoodie?"
Yeah.
That's like, come and pick me up.
Yes.
I don't want my friends to know that I want to leave.
Well, that's what I told our daughter. Anytime we're talking and she asks for her purple sweater, I'm to disagree with whatever plan is going on. And I love that. I think that's...
You give your kid a free out.
Absolutely.
You take the L for them.
I always say, blame me for whatever you don't want to do.
Sure.
I did laugh when Jerry is talking to Gwen and he says, "You might not know it to look at me, but I can run really fast."
I've definitely said this to women.
Oh, when?
Many years ago in another life. What do you think about this deal? 24 stamps to get a free sub. That's a lot of sandwiches.
That's wild.
I did used to, on occasion, my office was near a Lindt chocolate store, and they had both hot chocolate and like mochas, like hot chocolate / coffee, that they had like the chocolate fountain, and they would like fill it. Like it was so good. And I think it was like 6 stamps to get a free one. And I probably only had like 3 because I didn't want to drink a cup full of chocolate every day. And then the store closed. And now I just have these stamps.
Well, I was getting stamps from the bubble tea place in our neighborhood.
Yeah. It closed.
Yeah, it closed. So another bubble tea place moved in across the street, a bigger one. And we remained loyal to the first one.
Until our daughter went there today.
Well, because it closed. It's closed. She can't go to the one we like. But she had her birthday party there one year.
Yeah.
At the good place. You know, nice owner, blah, blah, blah. I filled up a card and I was like, they're closing. Like, I can tell. So I'm going to go cash this in now. And I gave him the full card. It was a different guy at the counter. It wasn't the owner. I gave him the full card of stamps and he rang me in. And there was... It wasn't free.
Now?
It wasn't free. And I was just like, okay, sure. Like one for the road, I guess. You're going out of business. But I saved those cards for so long.
If only we had been more loyal.
We can't single-handedly save every business in our neighborhood.
So the idea for the Human Fund was from Jeff Schaefer, and it was because Castle Rock would give the Seinfeld crew and staff every Christmas, like, a donation has been made in your name.
Yeah. That's cheap.
Yeah. Way to go, Castle Rock. You're making millions of dollars off of Seinfeld.
And even if you've got like a small friend group, maybe I did this when I was younger and didn't have like, husband and child to give gifts to, right? Like you want to exchange gifts at the holidays. So you do it with a friend group. Now I cannot imagine doing that because I have to buy gifts for everybody. My family, your family.
You used to buy gifts for like
teachers.
Well, no, your cousin, like that whole.
Yes, my family had a wild, very nice tradition where everyone bought gifts for everyone, but there were 30 people. So there was a tree the size of like the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree and gifts 3/4 of the way through the room and out into the hallway. And exchanging gifts took 6 hours, but that's just what we did every year.
Yep.
But I wouldn't get, I have to defend this because I would get all the men got the same thing.
Yeah,
all the women got the same thing.
It was
the kids got, personalized stuff for their age and whatever, but it was like
30 individualized gifts.
Yes. Yeah. Because then you would see someone opening something and you're like, ooh, I can't wait to get that because everybody did that.
Sure, yeah.
It's like, I want my pajama shorts,
Okay.
There were a lot of pajamas.
Yeah. It's a classic Christmas gift.
Yeah.
You worked? Bagels?
I didn't want you to know I was unemployed, Jerry. It's embarrassing. When Kramer goes back to work, he stuffs his coat in the
front
display fridge.
Yeah. You looked visibly shook when he did that.
I think I was more grossed out by that than his bubblegum falling in the dough at the end.
Mm. This was not a good New York bagel shop.
No?
No.
How can you tell?
Well, J. Kenji Lopez Alt has done a whole series on bagels.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about what makes a good bagel and talks about like specifically New York bagel shops. And so you need to boil them. You can't use a steam oven.
Mm.
Bagels have to be like served hot, no toasting. There's various rules. So what boiling allows to happen is the entire surface of the bagel, the starches get gelatinized before they're baked in an oven. Whereas if you just steam them, because they're on a tray, only the exposed portion of the bagel will get gelatinized. So it's not the same thing. And then those bagels didn't look like New York bagels. New York bagels very famously have like basically no hole. They look kind of like a butthole. And so those looked more like a
Montreal style. They were pretty chunky.
But the hole was big.
Is there lye in the water?
Yeah, so you have to alkalinize the water.
Yeah.
Various ways to do that. So usually they use lye if possible, or baking soda.
Weird. And we eat that stuff?
Yeah.
So Jerry's talking to George about Gwen's Two-Face.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't say Two-Face. George says, the Two-Face.
Yeah, she's a Two-Face.
And he goes, like the Batman villain?
If that helps you.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Do you know, are you familiar with people that are Two-Faces? I'm sure.
Personality-wise, but not looks-wise.
No.
Are you?
I do. I remember when I was doing my engineering degree, and so I was in like a civil engineering. So there's like 70 of us, and there wasn't like, we all had exactly the same classes.
Mm-hmm.
So you know all the people in your cohort. And there were 2 girls that were like the attractive girls in mine. And I remember.
Were there just 2 girls of the
70?
No.
Okay. There were many girls, but there was like 2 girls that were like attractive, and not like engineering attractive. Like they were attractive girls. And I remember like drinking at like a thing one time, and the more I drank, the uglier they got.
Uh-huh.
I always thought of like the two-facedness of that. It's supposed to be the opposite, right?
Well, maybe you were just noticing them in context of the wider world, and like they were actually engineering pretty and not really pretty. Maybe they showed their true personalities. They got some liquor in them.
It's possible.
So when Gwen is ugly, they've just stuffed something under her lip.
They've done two things. So they a couple of things. Obviously, they changed the makeup, so she's not wearing lipstick. They've stuffed something underneath her lip, and they've added prosthesis to her nose to make it wider.
I didn't notice that at all.
It's pretty subtle, but you can see it in if you look very closely.
I did find it funny that is it the first time he sees the Two-Face that when they go in the tunnel?
No, they go to the restaurant and Tim Watley's there, and he's like, "Oh, I'm actually here to meet somebody I met at your party." And
right.
There's outtakes of Tim Watley like reacting to that, and Jerry Seinfeld just like laughing from Bryan Cranston, not saying anything but kind of giving him a
because I was gonna say tunnel lighting is different, and like overhead lighting is the least flattering of all lighting.
You can do a lot with just changing the lighting on someone to make them look better or worse.
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't need prosthetics.
You saying I don't need prosthetics?
You don't need prosthetics. I laughed when Frank described tinsel as distracting.
I find tinsel distracting. Yeah.
There's so much potential in the Festivus of it all. And I feel like it's, when they all come together at the Costanza's house and the bookies come with Kramer. First of all, why are we being polite to these men? Like, don't let them in.
Kramer's full of the Festivus spirit.
But you're Frank Costanza? Who the hell are you? Get out.
I think like a Festivus bottle episode, like we're going to George's house for Festivus, and like you extend the like finding out about all of the craziness of the episode as people are like coming and going. And, I think there would have been something there that would be really interesting to explore. And then like it kind of makes more sense to have all these people drop in if it's not like a dinner, but it's like
like the Watley party.
Yeah, exactly. A Festivus party. Yeah. And then you can break it up like, oh, now we're doing the airing of grievances. Yes. Later we do the feats of strength. Like, I don't know. You could have.
Yeah. They've got, 6 places set around the table, and then like people sitting behind that man, like just at one point just opened his mouth and made no sound. Did you see that?
No.
Elaine was talking and he just like creepily.
There was some weird ADR that happened. Yeah. I've always noticed it when Elaine says like, "Don't blame me. I've been in a schwitz for the past 6 hours," or something like that. It's weird ADR for some reason. I don't know why.
And I found some lazy things like when Jerry and Gwen are at the coffee shop and she finds a rubber band in his soup and then she leaves and George is going to sit and eat it. And he goes, "Paco, woo!" and shoots it back at the kitchen. Just like this is like the last week of school writing. Who cares? Everyone will like this. They like this show. Woo!
Like it's incongruent with Jerry being a germaphobe. And yeah.
I did think it was pretty funny when Jerry was like, "She always looks good in that back booth." And he's like, "But I can't just keep bringing her here." And George says, "Why not?" He says, "I do really like," and I thought he was going to say "this girl," but he says "this coffee shop."
So I do have a question. So, George is here and he's like, he gets the $20,000 to donate to the Human Fund. And he's like, "I think I could be a philanthropist."
Yep. Wasn't he in charge of
He's on a board. Yeah, exactly. Like, how come he's not just making up, like, "I gave your money to the Susan Foundation"?
Because that exists and he'd have to give it to them. But, like, it's written as if that never happened.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Lazy.
Yamahama, it's Fright Night.
How many times do they say Yamahama?
Yamahama. Kevin McDonald says it.
Yep.
Kramer says it.
Yep. I think Frank says it.
George says it.
Oh, okay. Kevin McDonald, not only denim vest, he's wearing the full Canadian tuxedo. He's got denim jacket on, too.
It's a good look.
We don't know what pants he's wearing, but I assume jeans.
Yeah. You don't see his pants?
I don't know. I laughed when, at the beginning, when Elaine's like, "I like your metal buttons." They're snaps.
How did my horse do? It had to be shot.
I really don't have much else to say. I barely wrote anything. I didn't like this episode at all.
So Festivus, the real Festivus, it did have an airing of grievances, and it did have feats of strength. It was not...
Stop crying and fight your father.
It did not necessarily take place at Christmas time. It was like whenever Dan O'Keefe's dad wanted to have Festivus, they would
Psychotic.
regardless of, so like, Festivus in June right now, that's tradition. Obviously since then, December 23rd has become the date. Many people having Festivus dinners with friends and family.
I like that. We should do that this year.
Yeah, sure. It's like a Friendsgiving, but Christmas time. Yeah.
No gifts.
No, we get to fight people too.
Yeah, the last bit with Kramer eating the dough and dropping his gum. Who cares?
I do like how the guy's like, "You're fired." Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I do have a question though.
Uh-huh.
So George Costanza, not Jewish.
Nope.
Jason Alexander, Jewish. Jerry Stiller, Jewish. Stell Harris, Jewish. Who George has said inspired his interpretation of George, Larry David, Jewish.
So why did they write him as not Jewish?
Who's the other guy, the name that I'm forgetting? Woody Allen, Jewish. How come George Costanza isn't Jewish?
I assumed at the beginning of the show that he was.
I think he's like... I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me.
I assumed that the Costanzas were Jewish also, but maybe there's more comedic potential if...
You can explore Christmas and... I don't know.
So I don't have any corrections for the last episode, but I have an omission.
Oh, okay.
Last week, as we were recording, there was something that I had to bring up and I forgot to, even though it was sitting right at my feet. And it was a saxophone.
Oh, yeah.
Do you care to explain why there was a saxophone here?
Was it on the podcast that I made the claim that I could play the saxophone?
I don't know, but you said to me, I'm confident I can play the saxophone. And I said, what are you talking about?
I don't remember why, but I'm sure there was context.
You've never played saxophone.
I've never played a saxophone before, no.
Your reasoning was that 25 years ago you played the clarinet in high school band, therefore you can currently play the saxophone.
Yes.
I rented you a saxophone.
You did. And what did I do with it?
You made sounds with it.
I played it. Did I play a scale?
You played a scale.
For someone who never before in their life had touched a saxophone, never taken a saxophone lesson. I put it together without reading the instructions.
It's probably a mistake, but...
And I played a scale.
If the cat sat on the piano and its butt was on middle C and its paws were on the next one, it's technically playing a scale.
And it repeatedly played a scale at will? That cat's playing the piano.
I could pick up this saxophone. You could help me put it together because I don't know how.
Let's go right now. I will put it together. You play what I played.
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
So you realize that you've already lost because I put it together myself. And now you're like, well, you put it together because I don't know how.
That doesn't mean you played it. Do I have to slob on a reed?
Yep. Here you go, suck on this.
I currently have a reed in my mouth. Ugh. Why am I doing this?
You need to do that to play it. If you knew how to play a saxophone, you would know that.
I know as much about the saxophone as the man who rented it to me. Because I said, do I need reeds with it? He goes, yeah. I said, that's all I know about the saxophone. He goes, yeah, me too. So I know as much as a music store employee.
He probably didn't work in the woodwind section. Or the brass section.
You failed. You failed.
How wet is it?
Ugh. When can I stop doing this?
The wetter it is, the better it feels.
Okay, it's fully Slobbered on.
Okay, hand it over.
Yuck.
Not that wet.
I'm
Suck
sorry.
it up. It's
You said the wetter the better.
saturation wetness, not like dripping.
I think my reed's not wet enough. Yeah, that's pretty much what you sounded like. That's Derek. You're proving my point.
I contend.
Can you play a different scale? Oh, stop. I think this is the appropriate time to mention that I hate the saxophone. And I think you're doing this just to f with me. Okay. That was better than the first time.
I was missing a key the first time.
Because you don't know how to play the saxophone.
For somebody who's never played the saxophone, I think I'm doing pretty well. For $27, this was worth it.
This is a $27 bit.
We spent more on worse bits.
You don't... Is there a spit valve? You don't know. We're returning a spit-filled sax. Okay, now that unpleasantness is behind us, let's talk about next week.
Yeah.
It's the dealership.
Jerry buys a new car from Putty at a dealership. And based off how things are going with Elaine, things are going well with Jerry and Putty or not.
I can't wait. Well, thanks for listening.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Believe it or not, this is our podcast. Please subscribe at the end. If you subscribed, we would be happy. Please subscribe to us. Believe it or not, it's our podcast.
Is that a Seinfeld reference?